She was quiet.
Yeah.
Didn't really notice her.
No.
Not shy exactly,
Yeah, no, not shy.
but not loud either.
No, not loud.
The sort of person that if someone at school said to you, you know Grace, you'd say, who's Grace?
Who's Grace?
And they'd say Grace Fremantle.
Grace Fremantle.
And you'd say, who's Grace Fremantle?
Exactly.
And they'd say, she's the one in 11F.
The one in 11F.
And you'd say, oh, the one with the hair and the glasses. And they'd say, no, that's Miriam.
That's Miriam.
And then after a few tries, you'd get it.
Yeah.
You know the sort. Not that good looking. Nah. Not bad looking though.
Nah.
You know, not clever, like clever.
Nah,
But not in the top sets or anything like that.
nothing like that.
Not a joker
Nah,
or a troublemaker
nah,
or a loner.
no.
She had friends.
Yeah, she had friends.
They weren't popular.
Unpopular.
No. Not unpopular.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Not unpopular.
Grace was just kind of...
You know those American kids who go into high schools and shoot everyone dead? And the teachers go, no big surprise, he hasn't spoken for 2 years. And he's been wearing the same black sweatshirt for 11 months. And his chemistry book is full of drawings of guns. Well, Grace wasn't like that.
Yeah, she wasn't like that.
She was average.
Yeah, average.
Grace Fremantle was totally average.
Totally average.
My dad is mates with Grace's dad, Paul. My dad always says he's a good bloke. My dad's a twitcher, which means he's a bird watcher. Yeah, cringe, totally, I hear you. Paul, Grace's dad, is also a twitcher. The pair of them go down the marshes every Sunday with their binoculars, and then they go for a fry up at Pauline's cafe to chat about sparrows and bobtail tits. That's a bird. That's his real name. Anyway, last year, Paul, Grace's dad, posted a video of Grace having a tantrum when she was little.
I was 5 years old. I was wearing my Little Miss Sunshine t-shirt. My dad was playing with his new phone, but we were supposed to be going to the park. I did ask him, but he said he was busy, but he had promised. Before in the day, he had promised me, and that wasn't fair, I guess.
It's a funny video, I can't deny that. She's on the floor screaming, little arms and legs all over the place.
I'm fire and fury inside.
And then she gets up and falls onto her Lego. And if you've ever fallen on a Lego, then you'll know that it hurts like hell. And Grace's dad Paul films it all on his new phone, giggling away. Not in a horrible way, just, you know, like a dad way.
I'm red and blood and pus inside.
And Grace's mum, Jen, comes in to see what's going on. She tries to reason with her, but there's no point.
I'm glass and yellow and clash inside.
Jen tries to cuddle her, and Grace just kicks her.
I rapture and burst and storm inside.
And then poor Grace's dad says, your behaviour is completely inappropriate for a young lady. And then Grace roars. Like actually roars. Like properly roars. And then she's sent to her bedroom to think about what she's done. And Jen turns to the camera and says, what did we do to deserve her? And they burst out laughing. And then the video stops. Paul found the video last year and put it up on Facebook with the caption, epic disgrace. Which is kind of clever because it's a pun on her name. Grace. Disgrace. Epic disgrace. But also, you know, a bit crap of them. But all the parents thought it was hilarious. My dad included.
It's December. Cold evening, 7 o'clock. I'm at home. My dad's still at work. Mum just got back from her shift and is eating a sandwich with some chutney that she found at the back of the cupboard. I'm in my bedroom, starting my GCSE revision timetable. My revision timetable's colour-coded and covered in fluorescent post-its that Dad nicked from work. My parents are big on revision and working hard to be the best possible version of myself. My revision timetable is a work of art.
Grace? Are you revising?
I like the way the pink and yellow post-its look next to each other.
Grace, did you hear me?
They remind me of sweets.
Grace!
Like rhubarb and custard.
I hope you're revising, Grace!
Like the rhubarb and custard I had when I went to the seaside when I was 7.
It's maths and physics tonight, isn't it?
When we walked along the beach and found shells, Dad ran into the sea and I had a 99 ice cream. Mum ruffled my hair and snuck a bite of my flake. But I didn't care because the sun was shining and the sea was wavy.
Grace! I'm not going to nag you. Remember, it's your future.
And that's when I first feel it.
Your future.
In my belly, I feel
Your future.
a presence.
A presence.
A gnawing.
A gnawing.
A presence.
A squirming.
A squirming. A presence.
It is small,
It is small.
like a cherry pit.
Like a cherry pit. It is small.
Or a baby shrimp.
Or a baby shrimp. Or a baby shrimp.
It is really small.
It is small. Or a baby shrimp.
Whatever it is. But it's here. It's definitely here.
Grace Fremantle. Grace Fremantle in PE. More like Grace Fremantle. Grace Fremantle. Do you get it? You don't get it.
I met Grace on my first day of primary. We were best friends. We are best friends. Were. Are. I don't know. It's hard to, since... Anyway, I loved primary. We all loved primary. Every Thursday, our teacher, Mrs. Drake, would take the whole class onto the school field and told us to look up at the sky. She told us about cumulus clouds and stratus clouds and nimbus clouds. She asked us to close our eyes and listen to the music of the wind in the trees. She asked us to lie on our stomachs and feel the heat of the earth on our skin and look at the grass and count all the different things we could see. She said, "Isn't the world a wonderful place?" And we nodded, belly down on the hot soil. One Thursday, I counted 17 things in the grass. Grace counted 17 too. We both saw an iridescent bug with bright green wings. It was beautiful. I miss being 7. I miss counting interesting things in the grass.
I'm in the library, reading a book about... I don't even know what it's about, because I'm not even reading it. It's for English, and it's boring. And I'd rather read my own books than the books someone else tells me I have to read. I flick through Insta on my phone.
A young woman stands in a bikini on a beach.
My insides feel hot.
A young woman stands in a bikini on a beach. The beautiful orange sun sets behind her.
I feel...
The palm trees are a vivid green.
my stomach feels wormy.
She is tanned.
Like the night before an exam.
The orange sun makes her glow.
Or when your friends don't respond to your post.
Her body is slim and curvy.
Or when a teacher says, "Can I speak to you after class?"
Her bikini is the brightest white.
It's pulsing in my body.
Her hair is windswept and natural.
I can feel it pulsing in my body.
She's having the best time.
Pulse.
Post. Didn't want to leave our little place at Green Pines Ibiza today.
Pulse.
Thank you to everyone at Green Pines Ibiza for such gorgeous 2 days. Emoji waves.
I'm not pregnant, if that's what you think.
Emoji San, emoji pink hearts, ×2.
Never had sex. Never been near any sperm.
Emoji white hands preach. Hashtag ditzy bikinis.
And it's not another Jesus, just to be clear.
Hashtag seawater shampoo.
I don't know what it is, but it's not that.
Hashtag EasyJet.
Pulse.
There's a special school assembly with a special guest. The special guest is a famous barrister who went to the private school across town. The private school has its own theatre and ancient oak trees and cricket pitches. Our school doesn't have its own theatre and cricket pitches and ancient oak trees. We just have one between 2 books and teachers who go off sick. The barrister's very passionate.
I want you to look around you. I want you to look to your left. Now I want you to look to your right. Welcome to your competition.
My womb contracts.
You will sit your GCSEs together. You will sit your A-levels at the same time. You will apply to university together.
My womb judders.
And what I want to know is, what makes you stand out from everyone else here?
It expands in my womb.
You are at a crucial point in your life.
It expands.
Everything you do now will have an impact on your future.
It grows to the size of a chestnut.
Let's get real here. You want to go in your own house? Well, how are you going to get it?
It's not painful, but not painful. It feels sort of
How are you going to manage that? Because houses are expensive.
Unknowable.
You need to think about what you want from your future now. What's your plan?
It feels like the worst is yet to come.
What's your 5-year plan?
All the best is yet to come.
You're in charge of your own destiny.
It grows to the size of a mouse.
With hard work and determination, you can make your dreams come true.
It grows to the size of a hamster.
Harness your power.
By the end of assembly, it grows to the size of a newborn puppy.
You can make it happen.
A small one.
The hard work starts now.
Jack Russell maybe.
The competition started yesterday.
Or a West Highland Terrier.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah, like a West Highland Terrier puppy scrambling around inside of me.
My memory of Grace Fremantle before that day in PE, before it happened, is kind of hazy. She was in a couple of my classes and yeah, nothing much really, just kind of, nothing. Oh yeah, no, actually, no, that wasn't her. Oh yeah, no, I remember something. There was this one time, right, it was break and me and my lot were at the art block. My mate Ali was laughing and looking on its phone and I said, "What's that?" And Ali passed it over. Someone had posted a video of Janice Levy, who was in the year below, winning the 100-metre sprint in the Borough Championships. And just so you know, a bit of context on that, Janice Levy was the fastest runner in our school. She was like superhuman. She broke all the running records all the time. She was in the local newspaper and some famous coach from Manchester came specifically to see her and there was some chat about the next Olympics. Anyway, so in the video, Janice Levy is running this race for the school in the Borough Championships, really fast, obviously. And in the video, you can clearly see that Janice isn't wearing a sports bra. And she just got her normal bra on and her boobs are really bouncing. And God, she's so fast and her boobs are big. They're flying all over the place. And someone has put up a title that doesn't say superhuman woman slays all competition in the Borough Championships. Instead, they've written fastest tits in the borough. And all my lot are creasing. I don't think it's funny, but I don't want to seem, I don't know. I sort of half laugh because I don't want to. Anyway, Grace Fremantle walks by and Ali shows it to her. Grace looks.
Fastest tits in the borough. 609 tears of laughter faces.
110 green sick faces.
42 thumbs up.
37 aubergines.
She doesn't say anything, but she doesn't laugh either. She gives the phone back to Ali and goes into art class. I told my form tutor about the video because I thought an adult should know what was going on, but I don't know if he did anything. And that's my Grace story. Sorry, it's a bit of an anticlimax, isn't it? Janice refused to come to school after that. Yeah, it's more of a Janice story than a Grace story. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
When it is asleep, it throbs in time with my heartbeat. It's like we're one thing. I know we're not one thing. It plays around. Sometimes it is feathers. Sometimes it is fur. Sometimes spine's like a porcupine. It wrestles and tumbles inside my body. I can feel its spine up against my kidneys.
Ain't got a soapbox I can stand upon.
It was February when I first noticed Grace being an oddball. My mum had just got engaged to John, aka the dickhead. She was trying to get me on side, so she gave me 10 quid to get some dinner as a treat. Me and Grace was in Pizza Town waiting for our pizzas. Mine an extra hot Hawaiian with olives, because I'm half Italian and I love pineapple, so suit me. Grace was having a margarita, classic. Pizza Town is not a place that is bothered by cleanliness. The tables are bare sticky and the floor, well, you don't want to think too hard about that. Let's just say the mop is a stranger to that floor. But the pizzas are banging, so swings and roundabouts in it. There's this TV in the corner, right up by the ceiling. It's not a flat screen. It's one of those old ones with the big bum at the back. Some bare boring news was on. Grace was watching it.
There are children and women and men on an inflatable boat in the sea. The waves are enormous. The boat is sinking.
It scuttles down from my belly, across my pelvis and into my thigh.
The sound was off. Ed Sheeran was blaring out at 1,000,000 decibels, making the news look like the most boringest music video ever.
It's a minute away. I saw people marching in the streets today.
And Grace just kept watching.
A woman slips from the boat. She has a baby in her arms. She tries to keep the baby above her head as she's dragged into the water.
Its body quivers inside my thigh.
Mum met the dickhead through her mate Sally, who used to go out with him but dumped him because he was high maintenance. When I first met him, I didn't like him one bit. He was cold to me when my mum went out of the room, and a bit nasty to her when she didn't do what he wanted.
A terrified man reaches for the screaming baby and passes it to a terrified teenage girl.
Pushes its tiny head up against my kneecap.
I tried to say something about it to Mum, like, look at the warning signs, but she said, don't you want me to be happy? And there's nothing you can say to that. And then she gave me 10 quid. So there we were, in Pizza Town, waiting. Me worrying about my mum and the dickhead, and Grace staring at a TV like she's never seen a TV before.
The woman disappeared under a crash of foam and bubble.
I said, Grace, what are you doing next year?
It taps at my kneecap. Tap.
I said, are you going to stay on at school?
Tap. I put my hand above my knee. I massage the skin. I try and soothe it.
I said, Grace? Grace!
The boat upturns. The children, women and men scream and shout. They cling to the inflatable, which grows soft under their skin.
My leg violently jerks. It hits the underneath of the table.
And you'll never believe what happened next. She just got up and left. She left me in Pizza Town without even a goodbye. I'm like, are you joking? Are you actually joking? Who does that? She weren't even my first choice to go get pizza with. I only asked her because everyone else was busy.
I crouch behind the bins out the back. I take a deep breath. I look at my leg, just above my knee. It's straining against my skin. I can see the outline of its face. There's a beak. It has a beak. It has a beak and it's straining up against my skin.
My mum went ahead and married that dickhead.
Can change the world in a moment, but what do I know?
Grace was in my maths class, and I liked her. I think she liked me too. Sometimes she'd catch me looking at her, and she'd smile over at me. And sometimes I'd catch her looking at me, and I'd smile over at her. There was something between us. I could feel it. You can, can't you? You can feel it when there's something there. I was going to ask her to go out or come to mine or hang out or whatever, but then she changed and I didn't. I wish She was nice. I really wish I'd said to her, you can talk to me if you want. No pressure. I'm here if you want to talk. I wish I'd done that.
We were in geography.
It was proper boring.
Grace was sat on our table.
Seating plan.
Between
The teacher, Miss Jarvis, loves a seating plan.
Miss Jarvis is scary.
In it, you know when her eyes bulge out of her head when she's annoyed?
That lesson, Miss Jarvis was going on about carbon emissions.
Miss Jarvis is always going on about carbon emissions.
Miss Jarvis hates carbon emissions.
It is asleep. It is cold round my heart.
It's important to understand that the Earth's climate is changing at an unprecedented speed.
It wakes up.
I don't even know what carbon emissions is. Do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
We can see this all over the world with rising sea levels.
It wants something.
Geography isn't my thing. Art's my thing.
You're sick at art.
Thanks, Anne.
We can see this with more severe floods and droughts and storms.
I don't know what it wants.
Miss Jarvis was droning on, so I got my phone out to show the others a bag I liked, and I passed it to Grace under the table.
Anna Beauty, 1.1 million followers. This beautiful clutch makes the perfect travel bag, and it's only $42.99.
We can see this in species extinction.
Anna Beauty, hashtag clutch, hashtag retro vibes, hashtag bring on the summer.
Grace was gripping the phone like...
like...
Pixie Dream 22. Anna Beauty, I want your bag. I want your life.
The vaquita will be extinct within the next 5 years.
Its body tenses.
She had her head right down like...
yeah, like...
Then Miss Jarvis put a picture up of that weird sea fish thing she kept going on about.
The small porpoise was discovered in 1958. Here we are, just 60 years later, about to lose it forever.
And she was still gripping my phone like...
It scuttles along the length of my torso.
And I wanted my phone back.
Climate change. It's a catastrophe in waiting for all of us.
Its body bristles.
Yeah, because if teachers see your phone here, they take it. And the consequences from humans can already be seen.
It starts climbing up my rib cage.
Yeah, they lock it in a safe.
Around the world, we see war and starvation.
It pulls itself up inside my rib cage. I think it has teeth.
And your mum or dad or older sister or whoever has to come and collect it.
Around the world, we see desertification and forced migration.
My dad had to come and collect my phone. He was livid.
This is only going to get worse.
There's a noise.
And I really wanted to get my phone off her before Miss Jarvis saw it.
There is a noise inside of me.
We have 12 years to do something before catastrophe is inevitable.
So I reached over and I grabbed it out of Grace's hand.
I can hear it inside me.
Just 12 years.
Yeah, that's when she went really weird.
It wasn't my fault.
I'm not saying it was.
Oh, thought you were.
It was no one's fault. Or it might have been somebody's fault. But well, we don't know, do we?
I can hear it from inside me.
And then Grace leaned over the desk and held her stomach like...
yeah.
12 years for global leaders to take action.
And I said, "What's up, Grace?"
And my question to you is,
It's making this noise, like...
what can we do about it?
And I said, Grace, are you alright?
Does anyone have any ideas?
I pull my jumper around me so no one else can hear.
And then Grace did a really un-Grace-like thing.
I don't know how to stop it from...
Very un-Grace.
I can't make it.
Totally un-Grace.
They're gonna hear.
She started...
They are all going to hear.
Yeah, she started.
I can't let them hear.
She started singing.
Ain't got a soapbox I can stand upon, but God gave me a stage, a guitar, and a song like that.
What on earth is...
And it was proper funny watching Mrs. Jarvis's eyes popping all over the place. So I... Daddy told me, son, don't you get it?
Why are you...
And me.
I'll paint the picture, let me say.
I'm warning you.
And me.
And me.
Politics, religion, other people's girls.
Stop it!
I'll paint the picture, let me set the scene.
Stop this right now!
What it means.
I said stop!
Your mother's given to me.
And that's when we realised.
Yeah, we realised there was something seriously up with Grace.
Grace.
The it hisses and spits and growls.
Grace Fremantle.
When I speak, the it cracks through all my words.
Grace Fremantle in 11S.
I stop speaking.
Oh my god!
Me and Grace just got each other. Right from the start. That first day in year 1. She was really kind. Is really. Was. Yeah. She always made me feel like it's okay to be me. And a lot of times I feel horrible about being me. I hate my body.
I keep my mouth shut.
And when I look around, I see loads of other people hating their bodies too. And their bodies look just fine to me.
I keep my mouth shut.
After school, we'd always go to Grace's house and make macaroni cheese, which was our thing. We loved macaroni cheese.
I keep my mouth shut.
But then she just kind of disappeared. Not literally. She was still around. But she wasn't, if you know what I mean. She stopped communicating.
I keep my mouth shut.
She started staying after school in the library and getting the bus home when everyone else was long gone.
I keep my mouth shut.
She stopped asking me to come over to her house. She stopped texting, Snapchatting, WhatsApping, Instaing, all of it. Everything. Finished.
I keep my mouth shut.
I missed her.
I keep my mouth shut.
I still miss her.
I keep my mouth shut.
One day at school, I said to her, "Do you want to walk home together today?"
I keep my mouth shut.
I said, "We can walk home and then go to yours and have macaroni cheese."
I keep my mouth shut.
I said, "We can just hang out."
I keep my mouth shut.
And she didn't say anything. I took a big breath and asked her what I've been wanting to ask her for weeks.
I keep my mouth shut.
Grace, Don't you like me anymore?
I keep my mouth shut.
And she didn't say anything.
I keep my mouth shut.
I'm at home. I'm standing at the kitchen sink getting a drink of water. The it is resting. It occasionally rolls over and stretches along my abdomen. My mum comes in to turn on the TV to watch the news.
The latest victim of knife crime has been named as 14-year-old David Sanderson.
The it tenses.
Witnesses say that they saw David Sanderson being chased by a group of 3 or 4 other youths.
I don't know why, but I go right up to where the TV is.
The victim is thought to have run into a local shop for help.
Suddenly, without warning, the it moves up my shoulder and squeezes into my arm. I turn up the TV. A local mother comes on.
We are scared for our children.
There's a sharp pain in my hand.
We are scared when our children go to school.
There's a tiny cut in my hand.
We are scared when our children are out of sight.
There's blood in the palm of my hand.
We need someone to do something.
There's something sticking out of the palm of my hand.
He was 14. Just a kid.
It looks like a thorn from a rose, but it's bright blue.
That poor boy lying in his own blood.
It's a claw.
Why is no one doing anything?
There's a claw sticking out of the palm of my hand.
Why does no one care?
I tried to push the claw back in with my fingertip.
That poor boy, terrified, screaming, knowing he's about to die.
It won't go back in.
Screaming for his mum.
I go to the bathroom. I close the bathroom door. I take my shoe off.
The 5th teenage boy to be killed around here.
I hit the palm of my hand with my shoe like a hammer.
And no one in charge seems to give a toss.
The claw resists.
That poor boy.
The claw resists.
That poor boy.
I wrap gaffer tape around my hand.
Remember those lessons we had in history about the Middle East?
Yeah, boring.
With Mr. Logan?
Yeah, dickheads.
Remember that test?
Yeah, easy.
When I was sat next to Grace Fremantle?
Yeah, Grace Fremantle.
That's not nice.
True though.
Grace didn't answer one question in that test. She just sat there staring at the paper. She didn't even pick up her pen. Maybe it was hard to pick up her pen with those woody gloves on. Joke.
That's not funny.
I don't think we should be joking about her.
I don't think we should be making jokes about her.
I wouldn't like it if it happened to me and everyone.
Okay, God.
You know that photo of the little boy in Syria who was bombed? When Grace saw the photo, she started to shake.
The pain inside is.
A 4-year-old boy sits on an orange chair. The chair is too big for him. Aleppo has been bombed. The little boy is dusty from the explosion. His hair is matted and chalky. One side of his face is covered in blood. The little boy sits neatly with his hands on his knees. He is silent and traumatized.
The pain inside is unbearable.
The whole desk started moving. Her whole body was shaking. I asked if she was all right, but she didn't say anything. I tried to get Mr. Logan's attention, but Grace looked at me in a way that, I don't know, made me feel like I shouldn't. I should have told Mr. Logan. Maybe if I told Mr. Logan, then that thing in PE wouldn't have happened.
It's obvious something was going on with her.
She was in trouble, and I didn't do anything. I should have done something.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah. No. I don't know.
I can't stop watching the news. I can't stop reading the news. I can't stop listening to the news. I don't want to. I shut my eyes and I cover my ears. I don't want to know.
Food banks, cyclones,
Arms dealing, famine, plutocrats,
benefit
cuts,
luxury yachts,
suicide,
extinction.
The it crawls up through my chest. Its spiky head reaches my throat. It wriggles. Its beak is stuck at the back of my throat. Its beak is like a baby bird wanting to be fed. It speaks. It speaks. But it speaks. And it says, "What is next?"
Disaster.
I gulp and I gulp and I gulp it back until it is forced down my body, pulsing and vibrating back into the pit of my stomach. I put tape over my mouth.
Grace, man. Grace.
Yeah, Grace, man.
With the and the
balaclava?
No, that's a pastry thing.
No, that's
that Greek, Turkish, Arabic pastry thing.
That's baklava.
No, that's definitely. Oh yeah, you're right.
My year 40s used to bring baklava in at the end of term. Sick.
I cover my face.
So one day Grace comes in wearing this
balaclava.
And it was a winter or nothing.
They all take the piss. I don't give a shit.
I don't know how she got away with it. They put me in isolation when I wore trainers 2 days in a row, and I had a proper reason. My school shoes were getting fixed.
Yeah, I remember.
Just because I didn't have a note.
Yeah, I remember.
It was an extreme reaction.
Yeah, I remember.
At break time, I go to the toilet. I take off my clothes. I watch the it move around inside my body, bumping and poking and pushing at my skin. It has grown so big. A long, low growl rumbles through my blood, muscle, and grittle. What is next?
And then Grace Fremantle comes in wearing this baklava.
Balaclava.
What is next?
And she's allowed to wander around all willy-nilly wearing her
balaclava.
Happy as Larry in her balaclava.
What is next?
Rich people hunt giraffes and tigers and lions and rhinos. The rich people follow the animals in their jeeps. They stalk them and watch them and raise their guns as giraffes and tigers and lions stop for a drink at the river in the blaring sun. Bang.
I fall asleep on the floor of my bedroom.
There are people in a camp in Calais. There are people in a camp in Kos. There are people in a camp in Bangladesh.
My dreams are infiltrated.
They run away from their own countries. They run away from war and starvation and terror.
My dreams are infiltrated.
The people used to live in peace with grandparents and friends and neighbours.
I wake up.
They used to sip tea and break bread. And with smiles and love, they used to bicker about parking spaces, and the music played next door till 3 a.m.
I have a terrible pain just below my belly button.
They used to sing the old songs and dance to the new songs and laugh about silly things like how grandma used to eat pomegranates.
There is a trickle of blood.
They used to go to school to learn their 1, 2, 3s. Then guns and bombs and helicopters arrived.
There is a rip in my stomach.
The women and men gather up their children and started to run. They travelled miles with their possessions on their backs.
I peel back the skin.
The women and men and children are not wanted in the camps of Calais and Kos and Bangladesh.
There is an eye.
They dream of home.
A yellow eye.
They dream of grandma eating her breakfast in the pink light of the morning. They dream of banging on the wall at 3 in the morning and shouting at their neighbour to turn his music down.
A bright yellow eye.
There are women and children and men in a different type of camp in the south of France.
A bright yellow eye with a thin black pupil.
They wake up in the morning and have croissants and jam and coffee. They stretch their legs and yawn in the glimmering sun.
The it blinks up at me.
They think about the day ahead, which will be full of giggles and sandcastles.
We look at each other.
And swimming and sun cream and cool bubbly drinks.
I think I know what it wants.
It was after school when I'd been at science revision. I'd left my coat in the lab, so I was running to get it when I saw Grace in an empty classroom. She was there all on her own, sitting very still, very upright, very neat. She was staring into space. I went in and said, "Is everything okay, Grace?" But she didn't look at me. I moved closer to her. I saw something flicker in her eyes.
It is flexing its wings.
I thought she was going to say something.
Stretching its legs.
I touched her shoulder.
Grooming its fur, or its feathers, or its scales.
She flinched and she got up.
I can feel all of its muscles.
She moved to the door. I reached for her arm.
I can feel its strength.
And I said, "Grace, tell me what's happening."
I can feel its power.
She shrugged me off.
It is preparing.
I grabbed hold of her blazer.
It's nearly ready.
I grabbed her and turned round, and she pushed me so hard that I fell over. I hit my head on the side of the desk and it started to bleed.
I'm scared.
I said, "Look what you've done!"
I am so scared.
And she turned around and walked away. And I shouted after her. I shouted, "I hate you!"
I am so scared.
And that was the last time I saw her.
My auntie's friend knows Grace's neighbour, and he told my auntie that when Grace started wearing all those clothes, that the teachers thought she had some special condition, which meant that she was cold all the time. Apparently, Grace's parents contacted the school saying she had some autoimmune thing. I have no idea what an autoimmune thing is, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter because Grace doesn't have an autoimmune thing and her parents didn't contact the school either. It was Grace. Grace sent the email pretending to be them. I know.
The inside of me is heating up and I can hardly breathe. I can hardly move. I tape up my whole body to make a barrier and I wear a layer of clothes under my school uniform and an old puffer jacket. My mouth is covered. My hands are covered. My head is covered. It cannot get out. I cannot let it get out.
My auntie's friend says Grace's neighbour said that Grace's parents are really nice. He says they're switched on, which means that they know what's going on. Although they don't seem to know what's going on with Grace, and she's their daughter. Not that I think it's their fault. I don't tell my parents a bean about my life. You know, they say, "What happened at school today?" And I say, "Nothing." And they say, "What are you doing in your room?" And I say, "Nothing." And they say, "What are you looking at online?" And I say, "Nothing." They're so nosy. They get on my nerves. Grace's neighbour said Grace's parents are devastated. He said that they had no idea what was going on with her. That if only they know that that day in PE could have been avoided. They could have helped her, stopped it, or known. They could have done something, which I'm sure is true. Someone should have been able to do something to help her before, you know, do you think?
I was in PE when it happened. It was mental. The whole thing was like total madness. It was a boiling hot day and we had a supply teacher. The supply teacher wanted us to run 100 meters. I shouted, "That's against our human rights," and everybody creased. I'm a joker, innit? Everyone was wearing shorts and t-shirts, apart from Grace, who was dressed in all this gear looking like this colossal nutter. Gross. I'd like to take that back. Grace didn't look like a colossal nutter. She looked unusual. Yeah, that's right. She looked unusual in her unusual apparel. Anyway, we were outside on the field, which was as dry as the savannah because of the heat wave, and we were all lined up for the first race. Grace was on the other side of me. The supply teacher woman blew the whistle, and we all set off. No one could be asked, so there was a lot of dawdling and chit-chat.
The general lack of effort pissed the supply teacher off, and she proper shouted at us.
You're supposed to be competing!
It freezes.
Whoever's last gets an attention!
The supply teacher was a wild one. You know how some supply teachers are. A bit unpredictable, so everyone just started running.
And then someone shouted something about Janice Levy. And everyone started laughing.
It clenches its jaw.
609 tiers of laughter faces.
That it arches its scaly back. Its spikes flicker.
110 green sick faces.
Its claws retract and protract.
I finished the race and turned back to see if I was last, which I wasn't, which is surprising to me because I usually am. Running is not my forte. Grace was standing way behind me, standing dead still in her lane, and the supply teacher was lining up the next race to go.
And what I want to know is, what makes you stand out from everyone else here?
Opens its beak and bares its teeth.
There were children and women and men on an inflatable boat in the sea.
It plunges and heaves and dives inside of me.
The supply teacher spotted Grace and marched up to her and was all,
"Can you hear me? Why aren't you moving? Yeah, we're running a race."
But Grace didn't even look at her.
Remember, it's your future.
That it whirls in a fever of blistering heat around my organs.
The waves are enormous. And the supply teacher was shouting her head off, right in Grace's face. And Grace was just standing there like a statue, ignoring her, which was making the supply teacher apoplectic.
Hashtag ditzy bikinis.
Hashtag EasyJet.
It twists my liver.
Grace, are you revising?
It snaps at my kidneys.
There are people in a camp in Calais.
It claws at my lungs.
Eventually, the supply teacher got fed up and stormed off back to the starting line to have a go at someone else. There are people in a camp in Kos.
It starts to shred at my muscles.
There are people in a camp in Bangladesh.
You know, when you see a dog digging, it's doing that to the soft flesh inside of me.
The 5th teenage boy to be killed around here.
And the supply teacher started the next race. The runners pointed at Grace, and the supply teacher motioned they should run round her.
And no one in charge seems to give a toss.
I'm filling up with blood.
The girl who was running Grace's lane looked a bit worried about the human obstacle and said something to the teacher, who looked like she was going to explode at any moment, and suddenly just shouted,
"Just fucking run!"
The woman disappears under a crash of foam and bubbles.
Its talons scratch at my larynx. I cough up blood.
Food banks. Cyclones.
Arms dealing.
It crushes my heart.
But the girl who was running in Grace's lane veered so far over into the other lane that she tripped up whoever, until there was a whole pile of them. Everyone started to crack up.
Rich people hunt giraffes and tigers and lions and rhinos. It snaps off my ribs and pushes through. The pain is bang.
And we all started cracking up.
The Earth's climate is changing at an unprecedented speed.
The pain is... The little boy is dusty from the explosion. It burrows its face up through my throat.
It was so funny.
Food banks.
I gulp down. Plutocrats. I gulp down.
Benefit cuts.
I gulp down.
We were literally rolling around on the floor in hysterics.
It forces my mouth open.
The children used to go to school to learn their 1, 2, 3s. Then guns and bombs and helicopters arrived. And suddenly there was this noise, like someone was being murdered.
Its head rams my teeth.
Hashtag bring on the summer. And we looked at the Just Fucking Run supply teacher, and it wasn't her.
My teeth shatter and crumble from my mouth.
That poor boy. The supply teacher was staring at the third lane of the running track.
My cheeks split as it hauls itself out of me.
All our eyes swiveled to where she was looking. It was Grace.
Your behaviour is completely inappropriate for a young lady.
Its scaly feet kick at the side of my throat.
Grace was standing in exactly the same position.
I'm
the picture, let me set the scene.
It uses my windpipe as a launch pad.
But her mouth was open.
It's your future!
It wrestles itself out of me. It's slick and wet and covered in blood. Its tail slaps my face as it launches into the sky.
Her head was tilted right back.
Floods and drought and storm.
Its enormous wings unfurl mid-air, with blast and yellow and clash.
Her face turned up to the sky.
Desertification and forced migration.
The wings bright green and iridescent.
And her mouth wide open.
I want your bag. I want your life.
Flecks of fire spin off its scaly body like a Catherine wheel.
The noise was unbelievable.
The boat upturns.
It stinks of fire and demons and rupture and storm.
The noise was so loud.
The sky is filled with red and orange and clogged and gut. His hair is matted and chalky.
It was frightening.
The world heats up.
Your future.
The adults in charge run for safety.
The noise that was coming from her was so frightening.
It's all their fault. Luxury yachts.
Suicide.
Extinction. The it is coming for them.
I'll never forget that.
The it blinks its bright yellow eyes. The earth shudders.
You see war and starvation.
It opens its beak, full of howl.
She was...
Bang. It cuts out sunlight. Bang.
She was...
Bang. We descend into darkness. Bang. Full of fury and brilliance.
She was...
Bang. And fever and magnificence.
She was...
Bang. The world stops. With her.
We tried to get Grace Fremantle off the school field, but she wouldn't go. It was awful. Eventually, though, 3 PE teachers did carry her off and took her to the medical room. Her parents arrived and they put a blanket around her and walked her to the car.
Her mum was asking loads of questions, but Grace didn't say anything. She looked exhausted. She was all saggy, and at one point she stumbled and they had to catch her and hold her up.
She didn't come back to school. I don't know where she went. No one knows where she went. Not even Sam knows. No one told us anything.
Everyone has different theories about why it happened. Exam pressure, drugs, eating disorders, boy trouble, girl trouble, friend trouble, parent trouble. I don't join in. I don't say anything. When they're all gossiping and giggling and talking in whispers, I don't say one word.
Because when they all saw Grace Fremantle lose her shit on the PE field that day, when they saw her open her mouth and scream and scream and scream into the sky, I saw something different. I probably shouldn't say this. I regret saying it, but
I saw it crawl out of her. I saw it open its wings and cover the sky.
I saw it speak and roar.
I saw it shower flames of yellow and gold and rust all over us.
I saw what's inside her. The fury, the blood, the gore. I saw it. Because it's in me too. Because it's in me too.
Because it's in me too. I know it is, I can feel it.
It's just here.
I feel a presence. A gnawing. A squirming.
It's small, like a cherry pip or a shrimp.
It is really small, whatever it is. But it's here. It's definitely here.